Hey everyone, and welcome to a new episode of Deurklink Megapark. Now, this will most likely be the last Deurklink Megapark episode for a while. Maybe I'll come back to this park at a later point, but for this episode I have a lot of small things planned. And with that, after having done all these things, I think the park has had a good upgrade. So after this episode, I will release the park once again as Deurklink Megapark version 2. Anyway, where do I begin? Let's quickly change the scaling again. Alright, the first thing that I want to do is something which has actually bothered me for quite a while, and it's the shaping of this curve on Ascension. So right here at the bottom of the curve, where the speed is the highest, it has this really tight curve upwards, and at the top it's really smooth and gradual. I think those should be the other way around. It should go upwards more gradually, because the speed is the highest here, and here at the top it could be a little bit tighter. That should not be an issue. I think with that, my pet peeve about this coaster will be solved. So I'm going to quickly close this ride. And, well, first thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to rotate the entrance and the exit back to their normal position. Right now they're rotated. The annoying thing about rotated entrances and exits is that, when I would edit the ride now, these entrances and exits would disappear. So in order to not let that happen, I'll rotate them back. Okay, now I will do my edit to the ride. Let me also remember how many vehicles these trains have. 6 cars per train. I will just quickly disable the vehicle limits cheat so it doesn't get changed to a different value when I close or edit the ride. Alright, now I will... Well, I could double close it. I will just do it like this. Alright. So here we have the smooth gradual curve on top. The tight curve on the bottom. So let me change that to smooth curve at the bottom. Gradual curve at the top. Alright, I think that's much better. Still 6 cars per train, 3 trains. Now I can rotate the entrance and exit again. Now I should probably double check if the queue line is still connected. I'm not really sure where the queue line actually starts. I believe it's over here. Yeah, here I can see a piece of queue line. It looks like it's still connected. So that's good. Okay, then we can now open the ride again. Let's first give it a quick test. Alright, looks like the ride has its stats again. Now let's quickly follow a train as they pass over this hill. I think it will look much better. Just going to quickly fast forward until the train here leaves the launch section. Alright, I think that looks much nicer. Still a bit fast here at the top, but I don't want to change the entire layout here. So yeah, small change, but I think it's a really good thing for the coaster. Okay, right next to Ascension over here we have this coaster called Coast Rider. Now, I think it looks a bit bare bones. I think I'm going to decorate the area below it a little bit, doing a little bit of land texturing under it. And I'm also going to give the lift hill a catwalk. Now, we can use the multi-dimension coaster track for that. And we can also use the new invisible color that has been added in OpenRC2 to make it look more like only the stair part of the multi-dimension coasters here. First off, just going to add a little pole in between here. Just gotta find the right color. I believe it's this color. Or maybe it's actually salmon. It's actually salmon pink. So here we take this. Alright, like that. I think that makes the station look a little bit more complete. Alright, then I'm going to take the multi-dimension coaster. Where is it? I believe it's somewhere here at the bottom. Over here. Build custom design. And I'm going to start from the top here. We'll want chain lift on the track so these stairs become visible. And I think we go right over here. I think this is the perfect height. Alright, let's do it like this. Okay, and then for the main track, we make it invisible. And we want the stairs to have, probably want it to have pink railings. Maybe salmon pink. No, I would probably like the normal pink color more. And for the support color, we'll take the same color as the normal track. Now, it may have a few more supports now, but I think that that actually looks alright here. And these stairs would probably be pretty heavy, so yeah, I don't mind there being some extra supports here under the track. Okay, I'm quickly going to do some texturing around the coaster and also place a fence or two. Alright, I think this looks a lot nicer now. So yeah, normally I don't go back to simpler land texturing, but here I think it's warranted. So as you can see, it's just all sand under it. But with the fence around it and the extra foliage, I think it makes this area stand out a little bit more from the rest. I think this actually integrates this coaster a bit more nicely into this area. So yeah, I'm really pleased with how this has turned out. I think it makes this coaster look a little bit nicer. Okay, then there's the next area. Here's the Round Earth Society base. And over here I made this rocket. And I didn't have any diagonal fences, so I just left this open. But with some trickery, we can actually quite nicely yeah, make a diagonal fence here using steeplechase track. Now it looks like we also need a handyman over here. We can probably add an extra handyman in this area. There's a lot more guests in the park now, so the handymen all have huge areas to clean up. So they're having a little bit trouble in some areas. So that's also why the park rating is suffering a bit. Anyway, let's first do these diagonal fences. I'm going to make this diagonal fence yeah, the easy way, so it will only be visible from one angle. But I think that's enough. For example, from this angle it would not be visible. From the side it would not really be visible. So I think we can get away with leaving it not visible from this. So I'll only make them so that we can see them from the front. Actually, I think looking... oh wait, no, it's not at the right height. Yeah, I think we can make it so that it actually is connected there. I'll have to see. No, I think it will not work like this because yeah, it would be somewhere in the middle. So we'll have to use some angle trickery here. So what I'm going to do is I will just build some diagonal track here. I will just make it like this. And okay, if I would build this track normally here, you could just see it would not be centered nicely. But what we can do is just build some diagonal track. Okay, so here we have this this track piece, and now I will just paste it here. It can be on any one of these tiles. Alright, now here we have this diagonal piece. When you copy and paste a diagonal piece, it's only visible from the angle in which you copied it. So here we have this track piece now, and since it's only visible from one angle, we can just place it like this. The actual height of the piece doesn't really matter, because from the other angles it's not visible. So we'll just do like this. As you can see, it's not visible from this angle. This angle doesn't matter. And from here it's also, well, you would only be able to see it from the side. So it also doesn't really matter that it isn't visible here. Okay, I'm going to do the same for this fence. Alright, now that the fence is installed, I will quickly tackle these two problematic areas. I'll probably just give them a dedicated handyman, because it does look like the guests really have a tendency to leave their stomach contents over here. Alright, here we have arrived at the Asian area, and I think this area could use a little bit more land texturing. Now, I think especially over here it looks pretty plain. And, well, in this, when I built the park, I never really used the red sand or the red clay a lot. But I think it will actually look really nice if we use that here, especially with the red color of the coaster. So I'm just going to try and apply it here a little bit. Okay, I've done a little bit of land texturing here. Also redid the foliage in one or two spots. And while I was busy, I also added some palm trees along the beach here. I think, yeah, they make a nice decoration here for this area. It makes this area look a little bit less bare. Yeah, it's a small thing, but I think these palm trees help for this area. Okay, then we move a little bit further ahead. Actually, let's go to this area first. Here we have a bridge connecting the two parts of the Asian area. And I think this bridge here looks a little bit bare bones. And it could definitely use some decoration. Now, I saw a really cool trick on my Discord the other day. I don't remember who showed this trick. Lots of people discover lots of cool stuff on my Discord. So yeah, I really recommend you check out my Discord, by the way. You can find a link in the video description, and it's completely free. Anyway, yeah, if you take one of these castle walls and use the invisible color on it, you make something which really looks like a string of lights. Something like this. Actually, it's not really visible this way. But yeah, if you use it like this, you get something which could look like a string of lights. So I'm going to put a few poles up here. And then make it look like there's a string of lights here all the way next to this bridge. I think that would look pretty cool. Alright, I'm really happy with this. So I think, yeah, I think this looks pretty cool. So I'm definitely going to keep it this way. Okay, then I move to this area over here. And something which I don't really like over here is these fences. Yeah, these fences work fine, but I think they look yeah, a little bit undecorated. I think they look a little bit boring, especially for how much I've used them here. So just like I did with this area over here, just going to add some of these posts to the fence. I think that will make it look a little bit more substantial. Right, I thought it would be a quick fix, but I kept finding more and more of these fences wherever I looked, especially in this section around the water park. But yeah, I'm glad I got it fixed now. These fences, I think they look a lot nicer now. Now, speaking of water park, this area over here is very crowded. Not really sure if it has to do with these seating areas. You can find quite a few guests that are just wandering here. And the way I did these seating areas in the past was that I just put a footpath here without any connected edges, so I could have guests sitting on all sides. Now, nowadays when I create a park, I always just, for example, just make an actual path, and I will make sure it's connected on one side. It does mean I will have one less. Oops. It does mean I will have one less bench on the path, but usually it looks just as nice. So just as an example, so we would just have benches on 3 sides, and the path would actually be connected in the middle. And the advantage of this is that guests will actually be able to use this better for path finding. So I would often get handyman or mostly handyman stuck on these paths, and the guests also don't really like it for path finding. So for a few spots in the park which are a bit problematic, I'm going to just connect one path edge to these seating areas. Okay, one unfortunate side effect that I see over here for connecting these edges is that the path also generates these railings, and that's something which I don't want here. So for that I can use the invisible railing type that OpenRCT2 adds, but we have these posts here. So if I change this path type, I think it will reconnect itself and will no longer connect properly. I'm going to add some walls in between these paths. I will probably temporarily remove these posts if necessary, and then I will make sure that these paths no longer show railings. Alright, I noticed that in several of these restaurants, handymen were getting stuck, or they would just keep walking around and not actually path find to some trash that was just lying there. So this should definitely help guests and handymen find their way around. Now, I didn't do this for all restaurants, mostly the very crowded ones, or the ones that always had a lot of trash. So, for example, this one over here at the Round Earth Society base. But also I did a few tables here at this restaurant near the swimming pool. This hotel rooftop bar was always quite problematic. But now I see less guests just wandering around here in between all these tables. Now they're just wandering around here in the middle. But yeah, I think it's definitely better now. Alright, something which I did in one of the last episodes is that I changed I redid all the foliage around this mine train coaster, all the decorations. But this bottom part is still a bit bare bones. So what I plan to do now is just add a little bit of foliage around here. And when that's done, I think this area over here next to this RMC coaster is probably also a good spot to put another restaurant. And doing that might also make this area a bit less crowded, because a lot of guests seem to be walking around over here. I want this area to be a little bit less busy, so maybe having a restaurant over here in this area would alleviate some of the pressure we have over here. Okay, I think this looks a little bit better. The change here is quite subtle, but I do think this little bit of extra foliage makes this area a little bit better. Okay, we now have a new little restaurant over here. I named it Jack's Snacks. You can see it immediately gets very crowded around here. And it's also still crowded here, but maybe a little bit less. Now, I also noticed a drop in the park rating. It could be litter related, or now there's actually more guests who are lost. That would be pretty ironic, since I try to improve the pathfinding in these areas. But yeah, I'll have to find out what it is. And then I'll move on to modifying the next thing in the park. Okay, I've installed a plugin made by Bussy that can tell me how the park rating is calculated. It looks like there's 59 lost guests, and we have quite a bit of litter as well. So both contribute to the loss in park rating we see here. Yeah, maybe we can do something about the litter. I think we cannot do much about the lost guests. Because I checked the guests who are thinking they're lost. And, well, it's probably not really visible in the video. But these guests that are thinking they're lost, they're all dispersed throughout the park. There's not really a hotspot. So, yeah, if there was one hotspot, then probably I could improve this a little bit by just tweaking the path layout somewhere. So it's definitely the litter that's an issue. Now, also for the litter, I couldn't really find any guests who are complaining that the path is disgusting, or that there's a lot of trash on somewhere on the path. So that makes me think that it's all dispersed throughout the park. So once again, not really a hotspot. So that also makes it difficult to actually really deal with the situation. Now, if we press the I key in the path, that actually allows us to only see the problems in the park. Now, already here on this new restaurant that we added, I can also already see a little bit of a problem area. I believe I just added a handyman here. This one, handyman 170. I'm just going to make his patrol area a little bit smaller. Oops. So he just handles this area. That should already improve it here a little bit. But yeah, other than that, yeah, it's just hard to keep up with all the trash that guests leave throughout the park. I see a little bit of a vomit hotspot here. But yeah, all these, most of the handymen in the park have quite big coverage areas. This handyman actually doesn't. Wonder if he can actually reach this area. But yeah, it can be quite difficult to manage all of this in such a huge park. So yeah, for people who are trying to build even bigger parks than this one, I wish them the best of luck with managing their staff. Okay, there's one more thing that I want to take on in this park. Actually, two more things. The first one is this lake railway. It has 3 trains, and yeah, I think they're always not too far apart from each other. Let's see if I can find them. So one train is over here in this station, and train 2 is right behind train 1 over here. And then train 3 is also right behind this one, I believe. So I should probably disperse them through the track a bit more. Because right now this half of the track is not really being covered by a train. And that leads to guests actually complaining that they're queuing for their lake railway for a long time. Well, currently nobody is complaining, thankfully. But the trains now have been set to a minimum waiting time of 50 seconds. I think I'm going to change that to a maximum waiting time of 60 seconds. And I'll make them wait for a full load. So if there's not many guests here, the train will just keep waiting. Like to make it so it leaves if another train arrives at the station. That will probably help disperse them a bit more. But yeah, I think this will make it so the trains will be dispersed throughout the track more evenly. If a lot of guests are waiting, like over here, the train will leave immediately because these guests will probably be able to fill the train. And then the next train will wait a bit longer here. And yeah, I think this will really help to disperse the trains throughout the layout. Okay, something which a lot of guests are complaining about is that they need to go to the toilet. Now, I see the hotspots for this are actually at the locations where I have toilets. So it's usually around the restaurants. I'm just going to try and find some spots where there aren't many toilets. And I'll add a few around there, just so guests have more options whenever they need to go to a toilet. Alright, I've added several toilets throughout the park. For example, I added a toilet cave over here next to the burger cave. And I also put some toilets next to some restaurants. Now, while I did this, I actually went back to the toilet over here that's upstairs in the hotel. And there I noticed that the amount of customers per hour that I had was 0. So I actually did something here which removed some invisible paths that I had here. And guests actually weren't able to actually reach the toilet. So yeah, I also fixed that, and that actually helped some guests to no longer get lost. And it helped a lot of guests to actually reach the toilet. So the amount of guests that now think that they need to go to the toilet is much lower than it was, around 200 lower. So I think that's really a good thing. No, I don't think we will get it any lower than this, because for example, when a guest finishes their drink, their toilet need goes up, then they will think I need to go to the toilet, and then they will head to a toilet. So I don't think we will be able to get this much lower than 300. But yeah, it looks like these guests that are thinking this. Well, if a quick look through these little faces shows to me that they're all very happy. So it doesn't seem to affect their happiness very much. So they probably don't think this for a very long time. Actually, most guests are thinking great scenery. That's always nice to see. Okay, with that, I think it's time to add the final patrons to the park. Now, in the last episode, I made this pirate ship. And I think this pirate ship can use a few more pirates. So I will add all these patrons to this pirate ship to make it look a little bit more alive. Alright, here you can see the 5 patrons that were added in the park in this episode. And here is a list of all the patrons. You can pause the video if you want to see if you are also included in this. Now, this list also includes some people who are no longer a patron, but they will stay in the park anyway. I see I added I added one patron twice, so let me quickly remove this one. But yeah, here's all the patrons. Thank you so much for your support. It really helps to keep me motivated to keep making these videos. And I really hope that you enjoy your spot in the park. Now, yeah, it was really fun working on the Mega Park again. Let me put it up in higher resolution. Yeah, it was really fun working on Deurklink Megapark again in the last few episodes. I really enjoyed yeah, working and improving several of these areas in the park. Overall, I think I made a big improvement in the park, especially in the details, because yeah, when I first made this park, I just wanted to get it finished, and I didn't worry too much about all the little detailing. And now that I added a lot of that, I think it really is a big improvement in the park. I think it definitely makes it more fun to go through the park and watch all these new attractions. OpenRC2 keeps adding these cool new features, so maybe I'll go through the park another time in the future to add more cool new features as they get added. But for now, this is going to be it. Now, I think it will be fun to end this episode with a little cinematic, just showing several of the areas of the park that have been improved. And I'll make the park, this version of the Mega Park, available for download on my Discord server, which you can find in the video description. Alright, hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked this video, please consider giving it a like. And I will see you again in the next one. See you later.